Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Mini Capra test day. I've got the Mini-16 motor in it, and I really like this motor in this truck. It's pretty great. It has 110 scale style of power now. So the Mini-16, the Mini-16 motor has that FOC that'll just keep building torque based upon trigger demand. And if you're not careful with this, I think it's probably likely to tear the truck apart. So I'm just out doing a first run, first impression of it, see how it does on the rocks. So far I think it's doing great. It has that 110 scale power delivery that's so smooth. That was the main thing I did not like about the UTB18 Capra, is it just had that weak stock motor that you had to load it up with so much power that, you know, to get over these obstacles, that when they did finally clear it and the torque demand was suddenly released, the truck would jump forward, and it was pretty obnoxious. I didn't like that. With the FOC, it's kind of like cruise control for the RPM. You set the engine RPM you want with the trigger, and the motor will take care of the rest on its own. So you do have to be careful with it. If you're not, it'll break stuff. How am I going to get through here? Let's try this way. It's a little different coming out here with an 18 scale instead of a 10 scale. All of a sudden the obstacles are bigger. And I don't know if they're attainable necessarily. We're going to give it a good shot. That worked. Got to be a little more particular with the lines here. That's the only difference. Looks like it's working well. I basically bought this truck so that when I go back to my job flying, hopefully in the next year, I will have something I can pack in my suitcase. Just a note, if you are going to travel with LiPo batteries, you have to have them in your carry-on. You cannot pack them, that's illegal. And you are allowed to bring them in your carry-on on a plane. So one nice thing about this is it doesn't take up a lot of space, and if I pulled the tires off for transport, it would fit even better in my bag. I like this. Just smooth control even on descents. Another thing I like about the Mini-16 motor is it does have a decent amount of speed to it. You could trail walk with this thing with your 10 scale buddies and it'll keep up, no problem. If you do run this motor, plan to get a separate receiver ESC transmitter, because the one that comes stock in the truck does not work with this motor. So you basically put 10 scale electronics in it. When I come here, normally I have my 10 scale trucks. It traditionally has been either my Gen 7 or my TRX Sport. And we're back here by Mud Creek right now. And I love it back here. Water's getting a little bit lower. It's not flowing as fast as it was earlier in the year. And this part is dried out. There was a stream running through here last time I was here. So it's getting there. The lines are different with this narrower axle. Kind of have to plan to run them differently than you would with the 10 scale. I always like to have something at least under the front tires. I don't care as much about the back tires if I'm level. If the truck is level, it will continue to go straight. If you're on a big incline and you drop a rear tire into a hole, it's going to want to tip. So not a big deal at all if you're level. I try to go this way even though I probably shouldn't. Give it a shot, see what happens. Obstacles are just a little bigger at this scale. Although I do have Rover tires on here. They're 3.85s. They're on 1.9 inch rims, but it's a class 0 tire. So it's smaller than the 4.19 tires on my Traxxas, but it still does a great job. For its length, it has a lot of ground clearance at the skid. So it doesn't seem to have any clearance issues. See if we can get that thing to climb. It's still climbing. What's stopping it is the top of this left rear tire is hitting that rock, and that's messing it up. There we go. I do have brass portal boxes on here. Those portal boxes make a big difference as far as how well this thing crawls. I don't currently own a straight axle rig other than my Rift and Bomber, and those have 2.2 tires on them, so they're quite a bit larger than what I run here. If I was going to run a straight axle crawler, I would probably make that a 2.2 rig just to keep the diff clearance. There's other ways to make center of gravity, like brass on the front. A lot of people, oh, you brass out your rig, you know, of course it goes everywhere because you brass it out. Like, yeah, that's why you put brass on it, so you can go everywhere. And why would you not? And I get it, it's not quite as scale, but you could put black on it and it'll look the same. Make it come over this turn here. I'm wrapping an annoying amount of weeds on my axle that I don't want. Also, I'm using the stock 650 battery in this today because I want to see how long it will run with the new motor. I do have a 1250 Electron motor with me here, and if I need it, I'll get it out, but I don't know that I will. I'm just basically going to run the circuit before the sun goes down over there. I'm almost losing my light as it is, within a few minutes of sunset. Not looking forward to winter. It is not fun. One thing I might do, talking about straight axles and 2.2s, might be kind of fun to build a snow rig. Just buy something that's real lightweight, it's absolutely stock wheels, and put some spikes in it and run some 2.2s. That way I have a rig that can drive on the snow. That'd be kind of cool. I've driven on snow, but it's more fun with the Rift right now, that just basically drive it like an idiot. And I usually break stuff. But the Rift is so powerful that it's kind of too much for itself. That's why it's fun though. Kind of got it hooked up on the axle here. Find a way to make it dry. If I can pull the nose around, there we go. Got that right rear to hook. A little bit of a bind happening here. Gotta be real careful. There we go. Now I've got the back wheel one to bind. You gotta watch out for when the top and bottom of the wheel are touching something. You basically don't want the rocks touching both sides of the tire. When that happens, it creates a torque load that is not good for the drivetrain. Now I'm going to get a wheel hooked up on this ledge. See how I'm kind of hooking that front wheel on the ridge. By doing that, it'll hook it. It does not require traction to maintain that angle. Basically, I've got the tire hooked over the top. And see if we can't do the same thing here. Not sure where I'm going with this. Probably putting it in a bad place. A little slide action going on. Like a little stronger front servo. Okay, now I'm pitched up and it's dropping that rear tire in that I was telling you about just a minute ago. The only way to fix that is to get that back up on the ridge. Make it kind of go up the V rather than have the sidewall try to do it. And I've got a stick that's over and under on the truck here. Just gonna pull that out. Not interested in breaking anything tonight. I think a new front servo is definitely in order. It's a little slow and it's a little weak, but it's stock. So stock parts are very often what I call delivery parts. They're just the ones that come in the package to make the thing run in the first place. They're not what you're going to have in the final product of your truck. Alright, so normally on a 10 scale I'd put a tire on this rock here, one on this rock here, and shoot the V. I don't know that I'm wide enough to do that, especially with this little undercut right in the center of your screen there. But I think I'm going to try it. Kind of get it cranked over. I'll Find out how badly this wants to bind. Another way to not bind it is to put the outer edge of the tire on it, but I got to be careful because I don't want it to bend that stub shaft. I think I got away with it. Pull the back end through the V. And I think I'm going to try the high line. Keep going up here. There we go. This is way more fun with this motor. It's a 10 scale experience now. Or a lot more like a 10 scale experience. There we go. Alright, got an interesting path ahead for it. I think I'm going to try the wheel hook method again. Right here, just because I don't think it has the ability to do anything else. Alright. Shouldn't have gave up that front. Now I lost the rear. If I can do anything with this spot. It's kind of a hole in front of it. So I need to keep the back where it is. Move the front way to the left. I lost the front. See how I'm carrying that wheel in the air? Not a problem when you're level. There we go. It's the only way around it with this truck is around the other way. Made it out, drove that whole way with the 650 stock battery, so that wasn't too bad. Mini-16 is an absolutely fantastic motor. I will show you one thing I'm not fond of. I can do this. You notice there's a half-second delay between when you let go of the trigger and when the throttle actually stops. And on a final note, the sun has gone down. I've got wildlife over here that I can hear. Hopefully it's just a deer and not a Bigfoot or a werewolf, and or tweakers. Not a lot of tweakers out here, but the battery just went a little soft and the motor went down on power, but the sun was up when I started driving this. It's down now, and that lasted, I'm going to say, 35-40 minutes with this battery. And the Electron 1250 is almost twice the duration. So not bad overall if you take 3 or 4 batteries with you. They're tiny. You can probably drive this for several hours and have a pretty good time. Let me reach in there and see if the motor's hot. I can't do it while I'm walking and filming, so I'll pause for a minute and reach in there. All right, had a little quick probe on that to see what it was feeling like, and wasn't too bad. I'd say it was warm, but it wasn't hot. It was plenty warm though. You can feel it built some heat, but I'm pretty happy with it. Everything but the throttle release delay from full throttle setting. It does it in forward and reverse, and not super fan of that. I feel like the moment I take the throttle off, the truck should stop, and I'll see if I can't fix that tonight. Now it's the end of the video. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a great week.